Welcome to the Landscape Photography Vlogcast, hosted by myself, Tom Peters, aka the Photo Ninja, all the way up north, Paul Thompson Photography, and Struth mate, it's Matt Bishop. We cover all things photography and chat to some of the best photography minds in the business. Put your feet up, the kettle on, and let's jump straight into this week's Vlogcast.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think when you're referring to this, it's about people selling themselves as artists. If you're expressing yourself as an artist, that's fine. I think it's when you're actually selling yourself as an artist, as a profession. I think in photography, there is far too many people out there now who consider themselves as a professional. There's no doubt that photography, especially landscape photography, has become easier because of all the information that we can access to. But to actually sell yourself as an artist, it does make it difficult for the real artists out there that are trying to at least make some form of career and to maintain that craft that they've built on with so much hard work. Are these sort of the points that you're trying to get to, Enrico?
Well, I think there is a very thin curtain that people that is not in the business can see about the truth of the business of landscape photography. It's very easy to say I'm a professional photographer because I'm selling workshops or videos, but the difference is another one. First of all, we should understand that is not our problem, but I mean, most of these people are just very young that are not a true sustainable business, are just making a lot of noise because, of course, it's Instagram, and Instagram make all the things very, very easy. I mean, just some backstage, a sponsorship, an ambassadorship, like, I'm ambassador of the X brand, and I'm a professional. And of course, this is just like, come si dice facciata in inglese? Non lo sai?
Facciata, non lo so, no.
Quando vuoi far vedere qualcosa a qualcuno che in realtà non è.
Just to be fake.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah, fake, yeah.
I think they can show this fake reality of, it's like the influencer on the web. Everybody, they have beautiful girls, Lambo and Ferrari, and everything is fake. And landscape photography is almost the same, of course, with less luxury objects. And the sad thing, I think that stuff is the sad stuff of the scene.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not shooting since 1 century. I moved my first steps in the world of landscape photography in 2008. And I started to work as professional since
2009. You jumped straight into it, didn't you? 2015.
My learning curve was pretty long because at the beginning for me was just a game. I think that is another good point that should be taken like an example. Most of the people are just jumping in the business because, of course, it's attractive. You think, okay, I will be paid for making photographs. That is fantastic. I will travel everywhere, shoot landscape, and then be paid. Okay. So this is the reason of why so many guys are trying to jump in the business of landscape photography. And I didn't, at the beginning of my journey in the world of landscape photography, I wasn't focused on that idea. I was just shooting landscape because I was passionate about landscapes. Not because I was thinking to a career in the world of landscape photography. I jumped in the world of landscape photography as professional because I had the chance to meet a lot of American guys like Aaron Babnick, Ted Gore, and we started to co-work together, and then we started to plan workshops in the Dolomites in Italy. And so starting from that moment, then everything has started to move, and then the age of videos is born. So I started to make Skype processing sessions and selling video tutorials and planning workshops, licensing Mage, and everything is grew until today. But of course, what we can see from the social media is totally different. And
of course it is.
90% of the work of a photographer is not in the field, but is behind the screen.
Yeah.
Very well said. Very well said. Yes, it's interesting time. Tom, sorry, mate, you haven't said anything in a while, mate. You didn't fall asleep, did you?
No.
What time is it over there? Enrico did say that he could fall asleep tonight. No. I don't know about you guys, but Enrico and I chat quite a fair bit. It's obviously always about photography. And every time I chat with him, I get butterflies because of the words that come out of his mouth about photography. As in his words, you can tell that, you know, he's got experience and artistic feeling behind things, and it's beautiful to hear, Enrico.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. it's just nice to hear your passion come out in the way you talk about it. You know, it's not just about taking pictures. It's it's the whole philosophy behind everything. It's interesting. It's nice. It's refreshing.
It is definitely.
Well, for me, if it could be possible, I would love just to work with my art, just leaving all the other things that are moving around. I would be happy just shooting and selling my works, but of course it's just a dream nowadays. If you're not Peter Leak, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So when you
he's Australian, Peter Lick. Don't be mean. Peter Lick is Australian. You be nice. No, I'm just joking. He is Australian, isn't he?
I don't know.
I think he is.
He's Australian.
I think so. Yeah. Oh God, I just didn't make an ass out of myself, did I?
Oh, but anyway,
the first time, let's face it.
Well, his galleries are impressive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean,
certainly
not for the photographs itself, because maybe sometimes are just okay.
Pushes saturation beyond your wildest dreams.
Yeah, but I mean the structure and how everything is organized, and it's beautiful. It's just like a museum. Monies are making miracles.
Yeah. Money goes to money, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So you were saying, Enrico, you would love to go full time, but you don't see it happening.
Not really, because I want to keep save my willingness to shoot landscape, because I feel something, not because I'm paid for that. So I think you can do that if you want to. Well, nowadays in Southern Europe, and you know that because you are living in Italy, to build a sustainable business of landscape photography, you can't do that only with your art. You need to teach in the field, make videos, selling products. And of course, it's challenging because the market is flooded of offers and a lot of free material on the web that like 5 years ago, it wasn't possible to find all the free stuff that is available today.
For sure.
So also the business of videos, I think, is changing, and very soon will be limited. When I started, the first video about a start to finish, that is nowadays the most popular way of producing instructional videos, was made by Zach Schneff from Photocascadia, and he made an example of an exposure blending made with luminosity masks. At the time, was science fiction, was just something epic that nobody produced something like that, and I think it was very interesting. Then all the guys that they followed his example, like Brian Dyer, Alex Noriega, and all the other. Well, Alex
Ted
they made his videos later, but the pioneer of videos, I think, was Ryan before everybody. I can't remember.
Really? Okay.
It was one of the first guys making a serious video about start to finish.
So, go back to actually taking your images. What is the main sort of drive, the main focus for you? Do you tend to drawn to the big mountain or the light? Because I know your images tend to have everything, so it's hard. It's obviously,
well, definitely my favorite environment is the alpine environment. I love the Alps and shooting the mountains, and other sub-environments that are linked to the mountains, like forest and waterfalls, because usually for me the season is split in various blocks. Now is opening the season of green stuff, so forest and streams and moss. And now is beautiful because it's fresh. There is a lot of water because the snow is melting, and I think now is in the lower part of the mountain is beautiful. And then later during summer, when maybe starting from the mid of June, you can start to go higher up in the mountains where there are wildflowers and everything is so green, like in Scotland. And unfortunately on the Alps is changing then later. Maybe when you reach more or less the mid of July, end of July, then the grass starts to change color and turning to yellow. And in September, you can have almost autumnal feeling in certain areas, especially when you reach certain heights. And so my season usually is divided in this block. So spring with rivers and mossy stuff, and that I love it. I think for me is one of the most relaxing and enjoyable way of taking photographs. Of course, it's just a matter of taste. I love forest in general. And then later I move shooting the upper area in the Alps, like starting from 1,600 meters of elevation.
Wow.
Yeah. Usually the locations where I'm shooting are starting from 1,200 till 2,600, 3,000, depends. And in that all that elevation gain, you have a lot of changes in different environments, and of course there are the right moments to visit the places and taking different kind of subjects. So definitely that is my favorite subject. And then in October, fall is beautiful. The end of October is just mind-blowing in the Alps, and everything is gold and red. You have to see it.
Yeah.
So
you guys need to come over.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
So you very much about planning your shots, or are you more, do you just go out and see what you can get, or are you much more focused than that?
Yeah, sure. I'm planning a lot. I love to have a B plan. So I'm trying always to focus my stays in locations where I can change my plans. Well, of course, during the mid of summer, and if you're looking for shooting the peaks and the most interesting areas at a certain elevation, and you have to sleep in a tent or in a hut, and there is a lot of hiking, so you can't have a real B plan. So you have just to take care about the weather conditions and trying to find a good compromise between good weather and bad weather. Because bad weather, if it's too bad in the Alps, is seriously bad and is dangerous because especially if you're sleeping in tents, you can stumble in a heavy thunderstorm, and it's pretty scary. It's happened to me sometimes, and when the thunder is hitting close to your tent is pretty scary. And
do you remember that story, Enrico? Sorry to interrupt you, about Ted Gore when he was in the Dolomites quite a few years ago now, and he was up before it became famous. You know, the famous Trecime in the Dolomites, and he got a shot up there with a lightning strike. I don't know if you've seen that shot.
That place is pretty safe because did you visit that place?
Yeah.
So when you are in that vantage point, there is a cave.
Yes.
So if the storm is hitting close to your shooting point, you can move in the cave. And
you can move in the cave.
Yeah, sure. I did the same in my popular shot, Descent to Rivendell, because that time was totally random because it was the first time for me in that place, but when the thunderstorm is falling up on my head, I fled in the cave because was the it was the only place where it wasn't exposed to the lightnings. And it's pretty bad when you are in the middle of a storm in the Alps, especially in July or August when they are pretty violent.
And things can change so rapidly too, can't they? The conditions can just change in a second. Yeah, it's incredible.
Definitely. That afternoon was exactly in that way. I was just strolling and shooting around, and was just sun and clouds, and then suddenly the sky turned in pitch black and started.
Wow, rain. That's the best though, isn't it? That's what landscape photography is. When you get those conditions.
You have just to take care. You don't have to have too much fear. Well, you have just to take your precautions if it's too dangerous.
Yeah, like not holding your tripod up in the air for one thing.
Yeah, especially
when the end of your tripod you've got a Leica camera.
Yeah, not a good idea, is it?
Well, the key is to drop everything. If that is happening, you have to sit down and form like an egg shape without all your metal stuff. You have to drop the stuff 100 meters from you and then wait. That is the only way to be safe if the situation is serious. But usually when you are shooting at an elevation that is between 1,600 and 2,000, you have a lot of places where you can take refuge. Maybe there are rocks, and forest is never a good idea, especially if there are a few trees. But if you flee down in the woods that are usually hanging up in the mountains, that is really safe. Anyway, there is a risk when you are shooting in the mountains during a storm. A little of risk there is, but that is
of course.
You have to accept it.
Definitely. It's not like walking through the Lake District, is it? Huh?
No, it's pretty open there, really.
Have you been over to the UK, Enrico? I know you've been to Glencoe before. Have you travelled anywhere else for photography in the UK?
I was in Wales in 2012.
Okay, so Snowdonia?
No, I visit Anglesey Island and the Pembrokeshire.
Yeah.
And very nice area, and I visit all the location where they filmed Robin Hood and Harry Potter, all the coast. That is pretty epic. And then when I went to Scotland, I spent a couple of days in the Northumberland, and I visited some of the famous castles.
Alnwick Castle,
Bamburgh
Castle.
Bamburgh and the other one. Oh, there is Alnwick Castle.
Alnwick.
Yeah. Sorry, my bad pronounce.
That's all right.
You can't speak Scottish.
That's where they shot some of Harry Potter. I think is Alnwick Castle. Yeah, that's where I'm from. That's where I'm from originally.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A beautiful area.
Yeah, it is. It's lovely over there.
Landscapes.
Yeah, it's lovely over there. Spoilt for castles, that's for sure.
Enrico, I was noticing recently in your latest work that you've been putting out, that your style has changed a little bit. I think it seems to be a little bit less. I mean, let's face it. You, in my eyes, you discovered dark processing and shooting scenes with very, very dramatic lighting, etc.
Yeah.
I feel like I've noticed recently, or that's just chance, because that's what you've been capturing, that your images seem to be a little bit softer, not as loud isn't the right word, because it's not bad being loud, but you feel like you've just.
I know exactly what you mean, and I think it is a choice that I made because I love to transmit the feeling of painterly in my works, and I think the excess of contrast is making the pictures too similar to cartoons and 3D stuff, and I don't like that feeling. I prefer a little more natural feeling or a little more softer. Of course, during the time there are evolutions, and your tastes are changing over the time.
Yeah, definitely.
You're influenced by many things. Just imagine to the movies. Think only to the technology that you can see in movies like Avengers Endgame and maybe Harry Potter that is 20 years before. Everything is changed. And so from that, you unconsciously, you are influenced if your visual style is changing. And I think is totally natural. Also, painters were influenced by this kind of things. For example, talking about a British painter, William Turner.
William Turner. Yeah,
William Turner.
Yeah,
he makes good fine art paper too, William Turner. Top bloke. Yeah.
At the beginning of his career, he was painting very realistic and detailed paintings, and then later he was painting more abstract and in, I don't know the word in English anyway, more abstract and ethereal landscapes.
Ethereal, yeah.
Do you ever see yourself doing, for you, do you ever see yourself doing more minimal shots? More of shots like that? Do you ever see an interest in like a negative space, or can you always see yourself being driven to the grand landscape?
Well, yes, I changed. I mean, sometimes when I am in the field, I focus my attention to abstracts and details, and not exactly ethereal like the paintings of Mr. Turner, of course. But for example, I had a beautiful experience in 2017 when I went to Iceland for a workshop with my partner Javier de la Torre, and one morning it was very early because it was the first turn to enter in the ice caves. And we went there with 10 people. And of course, I was behind the stack. And it wasn't possible for me shooting a traditional landscape, but I think that was awesome because I had the chance to admire the details and the abstract forms that were changing in the ice thanks to the light of the sunrise. And that was truly amazing. I think that is one of my favorite series of photographs, and maybe are not very popular among my fans or on social media, but I totally in love for this picture, especially one that, I can show you that picture actually. 1 second. So I know you can't see because it's a podcast, but it's just to show you exactly what I mean.
I know the one that he's talking about. Actually, to be honest, for me, Enrico, that's probably my favourite work of yours. Also, too, because it was the ones in the ice cave. Yeah, I really appreciated those because I think too, for who follows you, could actually appreciate that you did something and something different had captured your attention, and I think that did make it special.
Well, and especially these shapes for me were very similar to the designs and paintings of Giger, the designer of Alien. You don't know, you know the artist. Yeah. And for me, it was truly fantastic. As you can see here, there's a scene of the cave taken from behind the stack. And this is one of the guys that was posing for the other photographers, and I was just on the side. And I was shooting this area here. I was shooting with 400 millimeters, and I was focusing my attention to these teeny details, and it was just fantastic because I had the chance really to find things that were totally unexpected for me. 1 second.
I think who's listening to the podcast or seeing this on YouTube when it comes out, guys, just scroll through Enrico's profile on Instagram, and if you scroll down a bit far, you'll see the images that we're talking about. It's still on your profile, isn't it, Enrico? Or did you delete them?
No, there are.
Yeah. I'm sure if you scroll through them, you can, go straight to Enrico's website and see them.
There are this kind of details, and my favorite was definitely, I think this one, because there is like a face in the eyes. You can see it, or it's just my vision. Maybe too much wine is harming my mind, but
that's what's wrong with me. I haven't had a drink tonight. God damn it!
That's what's wrong with you.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, that I did a 15-hour shift today and hurried to get home to. I'm trying to look for your photo on Instagram, but I realised I was actually looking at my profile. I'm like, where is it? And I thought, these photos are shit.
If you're watching this, then I assume you're someone who is passionate about both photography and the natural world. Over the last decade, I'm sure you've seen the incredible growth in photography. Everyone has a camera these days, and everyone wants a beautiful nature photo to share with the world. Unfortunately, the passion to capture that image often overrides thoughtfulness. Wildflower fields are being trampled and destroyed. Delicate, unknown locations are being widely advertised, bringing crowds of people, transforming wild places into urban spaces. Regulations, private property, and the well-being of wildlife are ignored in the pursuit of an image for Instagram. If such things weigh heavily on you, consider joining Nature First, the Movement for Responsible Nature Photography. This is a global initiative to help recover the role of nature photographers as caretakers and ambassadors of the natural world. There are no membership fees, no ads, no gimmicks, just an opportunity to be part of this global initiative of nature photographers dedicated to caring for the natural world. You can learn more at naturefirstphotography.org.
Okay, so for who was scrolling through Enrico's profile here on Instagram or off his website, he's referring to the Ice Trilogy. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, that is part of that series.
Part of the Ice Trilogy. Okay. Excellent.
So we're looking at these.
Sorry, mate.
Sorry, mate.
Yep, that's the ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very nice, yeah.
Beautiful, aren't they?
Yeah, very nice, yeah.
Well, I think it's the best spot you can visit in Iceland for me. Well, ice caves are definitely worth. If you go there, it's worth to visit the caves. Especially, I recommend to book an early tour, like the beginning of the morning, because usually there are few guys and it's not crowded. Otherwise, it's complicated if you want to shoot a grand landscape photograph, like the entrance of the cave completely empty with many people is challenging.
Yeah.
How do you see yourself in the future, in the next few years, Enrico? Do you visualize where you will be, what type of photography you'll be taking? You know, what destinations will you go to? Where do you see things going over the next few years? If you don't mind me asking, if it's not too intrusive.
There aren't secrets. Well, probably,
if you want to know, you have to subscribe.
Well, probably as soon as it will be possible again, I want to return to UK.
Yay!
Yeah.
That group's getting bigger, guys.
It is, that group's getting... We're going to need a bus soon.
Dartmoor National Park and
Dartmoor.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I already planned a tour to Ireland, north and south of 12 days, but COVID fucked me up.
Don't hold back, mate. Just speak freely. It's fine.
Yeah, just call a spade a spade.
Enrico, tell me why you would like to go to Dartmoor. I'm interested.
I love Dartmoor.
Well,
I'd love it too, but I just, it's an amazing place, isn't it? But when you're referring to Dartmoor, what part of it attracts you?
Well, of course, the Wisman Wood, that is just epic. But there is another place that I'm interested in, is a castle in ruins that lie above.
Oh, yeah.
Just not far from that place.
Corf.
Yeah, Corf Castle, right.
Corf Castle was one of the first photos I ever took with Fuji Valvia.
Oh, really?
Fucking horrible shot, but still, it's a memory for me. Out of focus. Brilliant.
Well, also, my shots from Wales are horrible. I would like to return, especially in Snowdonia, because I never been, and I saw many pictures from that place. And yeah, it's very.
Have you been, Tom? You've been to Snowdonia, haven't you?
Yeah, and Anglesey. Yeah. Yeah, we used to go to Snowdonia quite a lot. Yeah, Snowdonia is. It hasn't got that sort of. It's a word like barren, like wilderness sort of feel like Scotland has. Like, well, as wilderness as it gets in the UK anyway. It's a bit more polished around the edges, bit greener, and
and compact.
It's a bit more easier to get around. They've got some decent views there for sure. Lots of tarns hidden up. in the more sort of higher elevations, there's lots of little hidden gems dotted about that not many people go to. Because most people don't. Most people go, if they're going up to that high, they tend to go, up and on into Scotland or whatever. So
maybe we need to organise like the European Landscape Photographers Conference. I can't understand why only the Yanks can have photographers conferences and we can't in Europe.
Well, you said
Let's go with that. Enrico, what do you think about that?
Well, it could be very interesting. When I went to Photokina as a guest for Gizzo, I met a lot of guys that were just chatting and enjoying the company of other photographers. But of course, they were in that place for various reasons, for sponsorships or just for visiting the fair for the news. And I think it could be nice to organize an event for landscape photographers or for photographers in general.
It's sad, isn't it? I mean, that photographers in Europe don't have this sense of community like like they do in North America.
I had the chance to stay in a place with other landscape photography, but not for shooting, just for other reasons. It was very nice, that the feeling and the sense of being part of something. It's nice, and
it is.
For example, when I went to the Trierenberg Super Circuit gala, is just a party after the awarding ceremony in Siena, in Italy. I met a lot of guys from various parts of Europe, and it was a very nice experience.
Oh, well, guys, we'll start getting a conference organised then. Who's listening? Send us an email and we'll get one sorted. We'll find the location. I think
special guest.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. We'll get Leica to. They're going to sponsor us and they're going to give a free camera to everybody.
Gizzo's going to give us free tripods.
Yeah, Gizzo too. Yeah, Gizzo's going to. Just basically everything Enrico Fossati has, we're going to get it as well. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Free giveaway.
Sounds good
for everybody.
Sounds good. Yeah, I think that would be a brilliant idea. A landscape photography conference for European photographers. We just need to find the destination. The Italian Dolomites in a big refuge hut sounds fantastic.
Yeah, but I think there isn't enough space in a refuge hut.
Maybe the one at Trecime is big enough.
Yeah, Alonso. Yeah, but
yeah,
sure. That could be a good location.
Or the one in Glencoe. What's that hotel called in Glencoe?
I don't know. I slept in a bed and breakfast when I went.
There's one place. What's the name of it? Paul, you know it. It's called like the Man's Hotel or something. It's got some masculine name.
King's Arms, is it not?
King's Arms or Kingsman's Arms or something. Yeah. That's the place to do it in. All right, we'll get onto that, guys. Sounds good.
When I went to Scotland with Javier, we tried to book in hotel a couple of times, but we never found any available room. So we spent the entire week in bed and breakfast. And it was very nice. I had beautiful, very good breakfast every morning.
Oh yeah, bacon and eggs, hash browns, beans. Yeah,
King's House Hotel.
King's House Hotel. Yeah, all right. King's House Hotel.
Yeah, it's
Please
lovely.
get in contact with us.
It's a nice place.
We're going to have. Well. Yeah, it is a beautiful place. Good food too, apparently.
It is.
Amazon, probably.
All right, we'll get that sorted out. Enrico, as far as locations, as a photographer, how do you see yourself moving in the next few years? Do you see a shift in something that's attracting you more? I mean, you've been talking about, you've been contemplating over this last year that we've had.
Well, I have a very good
What can people expect from you?
Well, what people is expecting from me probably is a trip to New Zealand, shooting the location of Lord of the Rings. But for me, it definitely is a demanding trip. Not I think it is not the cost. The only problem is, I think, is just the amount of time that you need at least 3 weeks to go there, and moving from South to North Ireland, and but that is definitely in the bucket list. And probably another. This one is more. Probable is a trip to Vancouver Island in Canada.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a stunning place. Yes,
that is another place that probably I will visit. Well, I hope so. If this pandemic will finish, and then also Yukon is another place that I would like to.
The Yukon, okay.
No, that is raw.
It's relatively unphotographed, though, isn't it? It's
the Yukon.
Relatively, it's not that widely photographed, is it? The Yukon. It's not like a massive.
It's complicated to move in the area.
Yeah,
there are a few roads and a few places where to stay, and I think you have to rent like helicopters for moving in certain. I know Mark Adams is planning tours there, and there are a lot of helicopter taxi for moving from the various locations. And but Canada is just awesome. There are thousands of locations. I was 2 times there, mainly in Alberta and British Columbia, and on the Icefield Parkway, there are all the most epic and known locations. There are like Moraine Lake, Peyto Lake, all the super famous locations. But close to those locations, there are tons of other locations that nobody's shooting. But the problem is always the distance. For reaching a place, you need a lot of time because maybe there aren't roads. You have to walk, and then you have to find a place where to sleep that is safe because it is full of grizzly bears. Not exactly.
Hey bear.
I remember my face. I would love to have a picture of me when I landed in Assiniboine, and a ranger told to us, "Do you have a spray for bears in there? There are many grizzly." I said, "What?" And I was with a group of Canadian guys, but don't worry, we don't know about Italians that were ate by bears. Okay, thank you.
God.
That is crazy.
It certainly is.
It's so strange.
One night when we went to the Nub Peak for shooting down where there is the Sunburst Lake and Assiniboine Peak, and that it was really scary because it was pretty late. It was almost blue hour, so we turned on the headlight for returning to the campground because we went to the campground and not to the lodge because, of course, the lodge is crazy expensive and you have to book in advance, like 6 months before.
God.
And when we arrived when we started to going down to the campground, on our path was full of footprints of bears, like of this dimension.
No.
Yeah. I still have some snapshots on my phone of that episode, and I was with a group of Canadians, and they started, okay, man, no problem, just talk and listen some music with your phone, and they were very relaxed, like
wow,
it was normal, like a cat.
Yeah, this is it.
No, I'd have some bear spray in my pocket, I think. Yeah. And my tripod would be permanently fully extended, just to really
yeah, spikes for sure. And then
you just got to keep talking, apparently.
Ice spikes, ice spikes for sure,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. I could literally talk to you, Enrico, forever.
Yeah, really easily.
It's just amazing to hear your story start to finish and how you go about your business. It's just very inspiring, and I'll definitely be taking forward a lot of what you said. And your post-processing is something, Photoshop is something that I do use, but I will be using, I have tried to be using more and more now anyway. And I love luminosity masks and everything. It's a whole nother, subject. Yeah, it's crazy just to hear you talk about your processing, really.
Well, I think anyone who doesn't know Enrico's work that well, please go and check out his website and all over social media. But anyone who's really wants to step into his world and way of thinking, I highly recommend his tutorials. I have them, and definitely go and check them out.
100%, yeah.
They're great value for the amount of money you pay to be able to get something very valuable information. It's definitely worth a purchase.
We'll put all those links down in the description below as well, so you can be found really easily. Thanks so much for joining us, Enrico.
Thank you so much for that.
We're going to have you back on, Enrico, huh? Because we could just, as Tom said, we could talk forever, or just we'll just meet up at a pub.
Anytime. I don't have any plan. Everything is closed here in Italy, and we will be in lockdown until the end of July, so we have plenty of time for talking. So
excellent.
Thank you very much, and sorry for my bad English.
No, it's perfect, Enrico. You spoke very well, very well.
It's a little bit rusty because I can't travel anymore. I have just to talk with myself from time to time.